Hello, friends. Today I'm meeting the founders of a very innovative company, Moderate. They're helping food lovers like you and me control the sugar levels and the carb levels through purely natural ways. Let's meet them to understand more about the product. Thanks, Sriram, Lalit, and Kartikeya for doing this. Really happy to be speaking to you and to learn more about the product that Moderate is. So, Sriram, let me just jump right into the questions. So, you are a serial entrepreneur. You've been at it for many, many years. What excited you about Moderate? Why did you start this? Where did the idea germinate?
Right. No, thanks, Ankit, for hosting this really wonderful podcast.
Yes.
So I guess it's been a combination of two things. One is, of course, the love for food, to be very brutally honest.
Great.
And the second aspect of it is I've always been kind of very, very curious about biohacking, right? I've been for the last decade following various biohackers who've been doing a lot of wonderful stuff in this space, and try to really understand, saying, what are those small things that you can do in your life that can actually, together can create a very, very large impact. And that kind of led me to quite a lot of interesting facts, and one of the biggest aspect of that is, of course, nutrition, right?
Yeah.
And what I've come to realize is quite a lot of the challenges that people have in terms of be it slightly serious conditions like diabetes, pre-diabetes, or obesity, or even some of the larger lifestyle diseases that we have, actually comes down to a function of the kind of volumes of sugar and carbohydrate that you consume. And typically people go on a diet and they say, okay, I'm only eating 1500 calories or 1200 calories, and then say, okay, we've just eaten a toast in the morning for breakfast, so I should be okay. But what you don't understand is you're much better off having a nice breakfast, which would be a combination of some complex carbohydrates, maybe an egg, and maybe some vegetables in that, and actually have a breakfast that that you have an absolute satiety around, which actually helps you better than having the piece of toast. A lot of these challenges are because of the blood sugar spikes that you get from eating a large amount of sugar and carbohydrates, and also the fact that it's highly processed. That understanding has helped me immensely in terms of my fitness goals, and then how do we go out there and educate the people, and then we realize there is already a lot of education about this done by some wonderful people, but the challenge is that there's a lot of cultural influence in terms of what we eat, right? And, especially if you look at Southeast Asia, especially India, we are actually a country that eats a lot of carbohydrate and sugar. And if you look at the cuisine from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, it is a very, very carbohydrate and sugar, heavy kind of diet. And that's basically what is really causing us to be the diabetes capital of the world. And if people are not going to change the way they cook and they eat, then how do you then help them, right? How do you then allow them to eat what they eat, but then probably add something to it which reduces the harmful effect of it.
Got it.
So then we started to really work in this area for about 2 years, and then we came up with this wonderful product called Moderate, which is a 100% plant blend of two botanical extracts, plant extracts. And we'll talk about it more.
Sure. Great. So, Lalita, you were a doctor by profession and by education. How did you decide to be an entrepreneur? Sriram mentioned that it was a 2-year-long R&D cycle, research cycle. Take us through the journey. Like, what led you to become an entrepreneur, and what were those 2 years like when you were still researching about the product?
So Ankit, I've been close to almost 30 years in the medical field. And then I meet hundreds of patients every day, both as a practicing clinician as well as an administrator. Most of the problems that we see in the patients can be prevented to a certain extent. It is not that people do not want to be healthy, but sometimes it is just not possible for them to follow certain dietary principles or a healthy lifestyle. And if you look around you, you can see that there's so much of obesity, there's so many diabetics. Now, India is becoming the diabetes capital of the world. China now has the maximum number of diabetics, but we are not far behind. We have so many pre-diabetics who will go on to become diabetics, and obesity is becoming such a big issue. We see even small children who are overweight, children who are becoming diabetic, children who are getting into
What is the root cause of that? Why is India fast becoming a diabetes capital of the world?
So the main important cause for why we are having all these lifestyle disorders is our diet. And a lifestyle disorder is something that is not genetic, that is not a communicable disease like an infection. More urbanization, more increase in disposable incomes, more eating out, more eating of processed foods. We're all pressed for time, isn't it? So we'd like to just reach out to the easiest packaged food that is available.
Just pick it off the shelf,
Right? We'll just go eat out and we eat what is tasty. Our children would love to eat what is tasty, isn't it? So there's more sugars, more refined carbohydrates, more processed foods, more saturated fats. All this is going into us.
So let's talk about the science. What do these sugars and carbohydrates do to your body? Why is it bad for you?
See, there is a certain amount of sugars and carbs that are necessary for our body, but anything beyond that can harm the organs. It gets converted into fats and gets stored, right?
Got it. Great. And what was the product? What is the product? Talk more about the product itself. What is Moderate?
So when we realize that obesity and diabetes are two significant epidemics, pandemics, which are going to happen in the next decade or a couple of decades, we thought, why don't we look for a sustainable solution for this? See, whatever information we have from doctors and patients is that they would like to be healthy, but they're very difficult to do it on a long-term basis. Like a diet, it cannot be lifelong. Right? Any kind of a high-protein diet, any kind of a significant restriction, it's not possible on a long term. So we were thinking, what is it that we can do on a sustainable basis with a person conforming to their existing lifestyle to the extent possible. So when we wanted to look at botanical products, we did not want to go in for any chemicals or drugs which will mess up with the neurotransmitters and all the rest of the signaling mechanisms in the body. Let's say for example you have Ozempic, right? So all such kind of a hunger killing drugs which could put a person into a nutritional deficiency or can lead to a lot of other side effects. So over almost 2.5 to 3 years we had tried out different plant-based products in various combinations, various doses and in different kinds of foods, and we have done multiple clinical trials at institutes like AIIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and other hospitals like Medicover, Yashoda, and a lot of other institutes, right? So these two ingredients that we're talking about is the white mulberry leaf extract and the apple peel extract.
Interesting.
They contain a lot of bioactives which help cut out these excess calories in the food that we eat, as well as blunt our blood sugar spikes and kind of make it spike a little bit slower, such that a person has a sustained glucose level in the body.
So with the advent of all of these CGM and all these devices, a lot of consumers are now using. So you're saying that if a customer consumes a Moderate capsule or a pill before having a meal, the spike on their CGM will be lower than what they would have seen without the pill?
Absolutely. Of course, there will be a lot of variabilities depending upon the kind of food we eat and whether we were fasting before that or we had some other kind of food. But then when a person takes a tablet of Moderate along with the food or mixes the Moderate powder in the food and has it, the post-meal blood sugar spike definitely gets blunted and it doesn't occur as fast also, and the subsequent crash also doesn't happen.
Interesting. And Karthikeya, can you talk about the product launch itself? When did the product launch and what are the early consumer feedback that you are seeing?
Absolutely, Ankit. So it's been about 6 months since we've launched, and the initial launch was like a test within our own D2C website and a slight launch in Amazon. And the feedback has been great, right? We've had customers who've come back facing issues with both diabetes and weight, and they've come back, gone and done their medical checks, right? And their HbA1c levels have dropped, right? So we've seen a customer who used it for about 3.5-4 months do his HbA1c check.
Can we say that this is a good product for type 2 diabetes reversal?
For type 2 diabetes, I think we're still doing our clinical trials, but the initial data suggests that because it blunts blood sugar spikes, right? Anyone who's looking to control their blood sugar, keep their blood sugar in check, it's a wonderful product, because there's a very important concept called time and range, right? Because it's just not important as to how high your blood sugar spikes or how low it falls, but it's also important for it to stay within a range which is defined as healthy, right? And as what Moderate does, it helps keep your blood sugar within that healthy range. The longer it stays in that healthy range, the better it is for your body, because it is these variabilities, these fluctuations that eventually cause the problems that we were talking about earlier.
Great. So Sriram, this looks like a pretty novel concept and a strong, R&D product. Do you see a consumer side to it? Do you think it can be consumerized? It can become a mass product?
No, I think so, Ankit, because if you look at the size of the population that is now dealing with, obesity, wanting to do a little bit of weight loss or even the pre-diabetic situation, it's pretty much 2 out of 4 people in this country are, in need of a product like this.
Wow.
And what's important is for them to really understand how safe this product is and how it actually works. But it's something that you're adding to your food when you're consuming your food, and it actually helps you by making sure that the blood sugar spikes do not happen. And also one of the really interesting positive outcomes of this is also the fact that it's also reducing the amount of calories that are being absorbed.
Wow. Okay.
Right, as part of the mechanism of action, and the beauty of it is that it leaves along with your food, right?
Okay.
So it's not a product which is going and altering your hunger levels, or it's trying to kind of stimulate your body and try to do a little bit of weight loss mechanism.
Yeah, got it. So Aditya, let me address this head on. There's a lot of chatter about botanical products, Ayurveda products on social media. A lot of debunking happening. Like, how safe is this product, and do you see any long-term impact for the consumers? Long-term negative impact for the consumers?
Moderate is absolutely safe to consume. The ingredients of moderate have been used for a very long time. It has been certified that it can be used as a daily supplement by the FSI, the Food Safety and Standards
So can it be
Authority of
had
India.
before every meal or once a day? Like, talk about the dosage.
It can be taken up to 3 times a day.
Okay.
Yes. And then it's also certified by the Ayush, the Ministry of Ayush also has certified it.
Okay.
And then also it is certified by GRAS, generally regarded as safe. But this is a arm of US FDA, which certifies the nutraceuticals. So it is also certified by GRAS as safe.
I'm not an expert here, but I see a lot of questions and comments around heavy metals and all of that in Ayurveda. So anything on that?
So there's a complete set of investigation that has been done on this product, and then all the certificate of analysis are available, completely free of any toxic elements or toxic heavy metals. Yeah, it's extensive studies have been done in vitro as well as in vivo.
Industry.
To prove the safety and efficacy of the product.
Great. So, Karthika, help me understand this in very, very layman terms, right? If I'm eating a plate of biryani, I'm in Hyderabad, so can't not talk about biryani, but if I'm having a plate of paradise biryani, what does this product do? If I consume a capsule before having the biryani, what does it do to me?
So in the simplest terms, imagine that as soon as food goes into your intestine, there's a door which opens for all that food to rush into the blood, right? Which usually causes the blood sugar spikes, which causes your calorie intake. What moderate goes and does is it shuts some of those doors.
Yeah, okay, interesting.
Right, so basically the calories, the carbs, the sugars bang against the door, and then they're like, okay, there's no entry, right? And as a result, what happens is that these go unabsorbed from the intestine into your gut system.
Interesting.
And the best part is, it does not affect your fats or proteins, because the way it works is that carbohydrates are the earliest to be digested.
The fat and protein absorption is still the same.
It's still the same.
Very good.
So, protein is extremely important for the body, right? But what moderate does is it does not prevent any protein or any vitamins, nutrients or supplements. The absorption of that remains as it is.
Wow.
So it's only the carbs and sugars that it specifically targets.
Got it. And what kind of foods can I have it with?
So anything which is a carb. So basically most of Indian diet, because you have your wheat, chapatis, alus, anything and everything which is carb, right? And any sweet. So we're talking about your processed foods, we're talking about your cocktails, we're talking about all your desserts, coffees, milkshakes. So there's a wide variety of food that we eat on a day-to-day basis that moderate works against.
Brilliant. So Sriram, I noticed that you've roped in Huma Qureshi as the face of your brand. Any thoughts behind that? How does that help you? How does the association help the brand?
Right. So, interesting fact about Ms. Qureshi, she shares all of our love for food. And also, another interesting fact about her family is that they run one of the most iconic restaurants. And she's also a very big advocate about eating healthy, staying healthy in life. So we thought, who else to bring onto the table than someone who shares that same shared passion for food and for health.
Brilliant. I think for a lot of these new products, having advocates and influencers really help. So any other influencer-led strategies that you're looking at from a promotion and bringing awareness point of view?
Absolutely, okay. So we are working with a bunch of influencers, influencers who are doctors actually. Who
very
explain
important.
the scientific aspects of the product and its safety and the efficacy and how it's a 100% Ayurvedic product.
Yeah.
So we're working with some of them to create the awareness and education about it. And of course, food lovers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who review interesting food in different parts of the country, and most of it turns out to be again a lovely carbohydrate product or a nice dessert which is rich in sugars.
Yes, yes.
So how do you enjoy that dish, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, not have the negative aspects of it. So that's when moderate really helps with that. So we're working with some of them as well.
Consumers are our biggest influencers.
Yes. And I think a lot of consumers, once they start seeing long-term benefits, the word of mouth just spreads.
Absolutely.
So what are the other products in pipeline? Right now I can see there is a powder format, there's a capsule format. What are the other form factors and product range that you're thinking of?
We are thinking of another 3 or 4 more products, which again can be used as daily supplements, which improve the quality of life. And like I said, they will not interfere significantly with a person's diet. See, one is probiotics. Probiotics are extremely important, as you know, and with the rampant use of antibiotics and various other unhealthy food habits, we are destroying our good gut bacteria. And it's just not that a single strain or only few particular strains are important for a person, right? So we have formulated this spectrum of pro and prebiotics along with digestive enzymes from the knowledge given to us by a lot of gastroenterologists and scientists. The main person who has formulated this is a renowned scientist who is working in one of the most reputed institutions of our country. He's almost like the father of probiotics in India. So with this help, we have made this product, the various strains and what is the dosage of those strains. And presently it's undergoing testing. So we'll be launching that very soon. Another very important addition to our diet, which all of us should do, is fiber. We really do not realize it, but fiber is not only good for us, good for our bowel movement, it's good for our good gut bacteria. And I don't know whether you guys realize it or not, the incidence of colon cancer is on a significant rise. And the age at which people are getting colon cancer is much more younger. We are seeing even 20s and people in their 30s getting
What's
colon
causing
cancer.
that?
It's your diet. Predominantly diet, the heredity and the genetic and the other syndromes apart. One of the most important reasons is the diet. This inclusion of too much of refined and processed foods, which have zero fiber, right? And just a 2 gram or a 3 gram or a 4 gram of fiber is
What's the daily
enough.
fiber consumption, which is?
See, we require a minimum of between 40 to 60 grams of fiber per day, and if we analyze, which I have done, the amount of fiber that we consume in our meals in a day, it hardly exceeds greater
So
than
you're
50
saying
grams.
that there'll be a fiber supplement which you're creating?
Absolutely, and it will be completely tasteless and so convenient that whatever you're eating, just mix with that. You're drinking a cold coffee.
This is quite revolutionary,
Just put in that fiber there, you won't even realize you're having that much of fiber, right? So
Great. And Karthika, can you talk about the competitive landscape? Are there any similar or close to similar startups out there doing something similar?
In India, no. I think we are the first in India to come out with this concept, right? I think the primary thought was how do we make moderate a part of your daily lifestyle, right? We are not asking you to alter the way you eat food. We are not asking you to change the way you're cooking your food. We are not asking you to change the plating of your food.
Got it.
Right? Just have it before your meal and you're done. And so we are the first in India. And I think what we are doing is quite revolutionary.
No, this is really, really good. I think for foodies like me, this sounds like a strong, silver bullet, if at all. But on that note, since the show is called For the Love of Food and we're in Hyderabad, I would love to ask some food-related questions. So, Hyderabad is the biryani capital of India. So, what's your favorite biryani in Hyderabad?
Well, honestly, the one that we make at home is my personal favorite.
Nice. Great. How about you?
I like the Pista House biryani.
Yeah, I like that too. What about you?
So I've just come back to Hyderabad, so I've not really tried too many, but from the ones I have, Shadab has been very good.
I've heard of that, yes. And one question on moderate and food. So what is the most unique product you've created using moderate? Like anything that you generally use and, the weirdest combination of moderate and a meal type?
So weirdest.
Or anything which, like you consume every day. What is it? Yeah.
I mean, I have moderate twice a day anyway with my lunch and...
so you use the capsule format or the powder format?
It depends. If I'm drinking something which has a lot of sugars or carbs in that, I take the tablet. But if I'm eating a biryani or a pasta or a pizza, I just sprinkle on it and have it.
Nice. How about you?
So I have it with my aloo paratha. So I usually prefer the tablet format because I think it's easier for me to take. So I just have it with my aloo parathas every day, every breakfast.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I just put on a CGM. We were talking about CGMs. Yes. And I love pohas, right? And I was like, okay, nothing happens. But every time I ate
poha gives you a spike.
Yeah, it was a crazy spike. It was going to 160, 170s.
Yes.
So
yeah. And how about you, Sriram? Are you on moderate?
Yeah, absolutely. So I love dosas.
Yeah.
And that's my go-to morning.
It gives a huge spike on CGM.
Absolutely.
The masala dosa with potato.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. So those are the best kinds. So what I realized is that the two things that happen, right? So basically, one is I have the dosas for the breakfast, or on Sunday it's a tradition to eat biryani for lunch.
Yeah.
So normally I feel really sleepy and there's a crash after that. And so once I started using moderate, I noticed that my energy levels were constant.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the drowsiness or the brain.
I think that's a very important point. Like a lot of people don't know that why this crash in energy happens. Right. It's all the spikes in glucose which causes that, right?
So I think that's a very interesting thing you brought up, Ankit, that the post 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, lethargy that you feel, people just trying to have cups and cups of coffee to kind of
which has its own side effects.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, the important point, a lot of consumers have told us also, they're finding a sustained increase in their energy levels.
And that's a very important point, because like you said, the younger generation is artificially, having loads of coffee and caffeine. And not only just coffee, now caffeine available in like 20 rupee bottles across the country. So.
And the unfortunate thing is that you have a cold coffee that again has 4 spoons of sugar on it.
And caffeine.
Just imagine, Just imagine what it's doing to your system, right?
And it cuts those cravings also, because there is no spike, there is no crash, there is no craving also. Stable energy levels, stable glucose in the blood. Yeah. You don't feel like you want to put in more food.
Yeah, like just to wrap up, before we eat some food along with moderate, one piece of health advice from all of you. It could be food, it could be non-food, any piece of health advice, something which you follow.
I would say eat what you love, right? But eat it in moderation.
Yeah, nice.
And if you can't, we have moderate.
Nice, yes. Moderation is very important. In fact, on that note, when I was using the CGM, I realized that having an ice cream, because it's 50-60 gram, is showing a lower spike than a masala dosa, because it's like 300-400 grams. So I think that just shows the power of moderation. If you have like a smaller quantity, you can eat what you love. So, how about you? What's your health tip?
Well, I have to speak technically. So, the 4 pillars to our health. See, one is diet. The one is physical activity and exercise. We have to get some amount of activity and focus on building our muscle. Then stress.
On that note, I think there's a lot of chatter about strength training, and it's a recent phenomena. In India, it's not a very common phenomena. So, can you talk about the reasons why there's so much need for focus on strength training, especially in your slightly older years?
Right, because as we grow older, our muscle mass keeps decreasing. It's called sarcopenia. And muscle mass is very important not only for our movement of our joints, but also for our blood sugar control. Muscles play a very, very important part in that.
Got it.
So the older we get, the more important it is for us to strength training and have some amount of muscle.
And you're talking about the third pillar.
Yeah. So stress, keep those stress levels as low as possible. And sleep. Most underrated, sleep is extremely important. So get these 4 things right. And that's okay if you indulge in food now and then, or whatever, you're going to be healthy and active.
How about you, Karthik? Anything from you?
So, the plating, what we have is the carbs, fats and proteins. Today it's predominantly carbs, 60-70% carbs in any food that we have, right? Get it onto a 33.
Nice.
So that's
brilliant. Great, this is very helpful. I think it'll be very informational for the listeners. And on that note, let's get some food and let's see how moderate works.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great, so it seems we have samosas and cold coffee. So what should I do? Like, should I just pop in a pill or?
It's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, you could have the pill or you could just, mix the powder.
How does that work?
Into it.
Okay. So that's a powder thing, is it?
This is the powder format. So.
I prefer the pill because it's convenient, right?
Does that alter the taste or?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But it is up to a person. If you feel it alters the taste of your drinks, then go ahead and take the tablet. I rather have the powder.
And now the carbs and the calories from samosa, the lower amount will be absorbed. That's how it works, is it?
Absolutely. The
Okay.
maximum will be around 40%. So
Yeah.
whatever carbs and sugars are there,
Yeah.
starches are there,
Yeah.
40% of the calories from that will not enter into your body.
And just regardless of the amount of meal or the quantity of meal I'm having, I just need only one capsule, is it?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And how long should I take it before the meal?
Preferable to be taken along with the meal,
Okay.
maybe maximum 5 minutes before the meal. So
Got
what
it.
it does is it just mixes with the food, it goes into your intestine, and in the intestine it prevents this food from entering into your body.
Got it.
This is not a chemical reaction that happens inside the body.
Oh yeah, there's no
This-
chemical reaction.
Yeah, so this happens only in the intestinal lumen, so it doesn't hurt us in any way.
Got it. Great.